but an effort to make the EU more dependent on the US. After reading the draft report on the direction of EU-Russia relations, I can only come to the conclusion that there are elements in the European Parliament that do not want any relations between the EU and Russia, and that they don't believe in diplomacy or peace. How can the European Parliament be taken seriously when it issues resolutions and reports of this nature? It's pure escalation and belligerence, full of unfounded assumptions and divorced from reality. And some of it, like the passages on sanctions, is calling for the violation of international law. The UN principle of non-interference in the affairs of another sovereign country is completely abandoned. The document calls for setting up propaganda outlets inside Russia. It's also setting up for getting ready for calling Russia's next elections fraudulent. It wants a democratic transformation of Russia. This is like a regime change document. We should have sane relations, facts-based relations, respectful relations with our neighbours. My questions. Ambassador, you spoke about Russian interference, but the Atlantic Council and the National Endowment for Democracy engage in propaganda to further US interests. Is that not US interference? Secondly, you say the EU should resist Russian aggression. But, Ambassador, the US and NATO have been encroaching on Russian borders for years now, despite the promise by Gorbachev. How can you say that Russia are more aggressive than the US? Russia are not encroaching on the borders of the US. And lastly, would you not agree that US efforts to drive a wedge between the EU and Russia-China is not just an effort to isolate Russia and China, but an effort to make the EU more dependent on the US? Thanks.